What is going on, YouTubeverse? John Stanek from Johnny Radio here, bringing you another Top 5 on this glorious Top 5 Friday, and I'm so excited to be talking to you about one of the greatest years in music history, 1974, and my personal favorite Top 5 albums of that year. So let's get right to it. At number 5... Open Our Eyes by Earth, Wind & Fire. Man, you gotta love this band, and of course, they didn't really hit it big until a few years later, but this really showed the seeds of promise of what was to come with opening track Mighty Mighty. Then you had my personal favorite track on here, Drum Song, which is just an instrumental, but it is incredible. One of my top 5 songs of that year, as a matter of fact. And you just gotta love these guys and what they were all about. Just they kind of ushered in a new sound, and this was the beginning of it. So that is at my number 5. Now at number 4. Get Your Wings by Aerosmith, the Boston Rockers, coming back with songs like Lord of the Thighs. You had Train Kept a Rollin', and the extremely underrated Seasons of Wither. There's some really, really great songs on this thing by Steven Tyler and the gang, and you just gotta love Aerosmith, and they were really kind of new on the scene still at that point, hadn't made it into the stratosphere, but that would be coming soon. So that's at my number 4. Now at number 3. Diamond Dogs by David Bowie. Talk about someone who was in the stratosphere, coming off of the heels of Ziggy Stardust. This is another, I'd put it in my top 5 Bowie albums list. I mean, you had the title track, you had Rebel Rebel, one of his greatest rockers, Sweet Thing. Of course, the album is not exactly a concept album. It's kind of loosely based on the book 1984. It has a song of that title and some really weird songs toward the end of the record, but hey, it's Bowie, man, and as a whole piece, I think it's one of his best. So that's at number 3. Now at number 2... Thrust by Herbie Hancock, also someone who was on a big roll in the early 70s, coming right off the heels of 1973's Headhunters. Thrust is a continuation in that vein of that kind of funk and jazz fusion that sounded way ahead of its time, especially my favorite track on the album, Butterfly. Is so cool. And there's only 4 songs on this record, by the way, but they all just grow and envelop you in different ways. It is fantastic. So that is at my number 2. And now at number 1. Just kiss my baby. Rejuvenation by The Meters, the New Orleans funk, just amazing band. And this is a band that I only learned of a few years ago, sadly. And they've just changed my life just with the one song, Just Kiss My Baby, which is by far my favorite on here. But I mean, you got People Say, I mean, everything on here is just great, puts you in a great mood, makes you want to put your teeth out and be like, yeah, the whole album. It is just, I think, their greatest album. And they've put out a lot of work through the years. And sadly, they're one of those bands that never got their due. They're not in the Rock Hall of Fame. It's time, guys. Come on. But hey, let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to see what are some bands that you also didn't hear of until later in life, and then they just blew your mind and you're like, where have you been all this time? It's more like, where have I been? But hey, that is my top 5. Let me know also your top 5 albums of 1974. If you're so bold, leave me a top 10. There was so much great stuff on here. Queen almost made my list. I mean, so much great stuff. The 70s, in my opinion, were the greatest decade in music history, and this is just another reason why. So thank you guys for watching. We got top 5s every Friday, album reviews, so much more. Thank you, and as always, Viva la vinyl. So guys, thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and be sure to ring the bell for notifications so you can always see great quality content like you're seeing on the screen right now. Thank you so much for supporting Johnny Radio, and I'll see you soon.